We announced this year's live on 19th of November, I think it was, and it's been all systems go. The process begins at conference. Conference is where all script editors, all the storyliners get together with the writers. There's a team of, I guess, around 30 of us, and that's where we discuss where we're at with stories, where we want to be, and in that conference, that's where the genesis of all the stories that we'll be telling came from. There's a struggle, there's panic, something happens.
See all the panic and all the rest of it, that they might make a bad decision, but it's like Sam Cruz saying, it's a big decision.
Sarah, that's completely justified, isn't it? If she's actually got hold of us. Yeah, no, I understand. You're right, yeah.
Once we come out of conference, we then I sit down with the assistant producer and the storyliners, and we actually really dig deep and make sure all those ideas come together as a single story.
We do a thing called talk through. We get a board together, which is basically a massive Rubik's Cube of different pieces of coloured paper. And that is where we chart the stories and the ebbs and the flows of the stories, and how we kind of keep an eye on what's happening per week. Kylie comes home, we were thinking maybe Kylie could get waylaid, so while all this is going on at number 8, we're thinking Kylie just stop talking to Norris.
Once we've done that, it stops being a collective process then, and it's over to the writer. And in Debbie Oates, we couldn't have a safer pair of hands.
When I first got asked to write the live episode, terrifying. It was terrifying. And also kind of a real privilege, so it was exciting as well at the same time. But I think what I really enjoyed about it is that we've kind of thrown everything at it. So one minute there's murders and bodies, and the next minute there's kind of emotional stuff between Roy and Kathy on the bus, and then we're blowing up a car. Greatest challenge is the physical, the geography of the set. Suddenly we were factoring in getting an actor from one end of the studios to the other, or onto the exterior or whatever, and then that might take a minute, and a minute is quite is a length of a scene. Getting a body in and out of a set when actually the geography is quite a big distance. I don't normally have to think about that.
Once the script is finalised, it's over to production, and that's where the real work starts.
Grip the moment like you're gripping the earth. Feel a weight and you're feeling the girth. Now you get it, now you're feeling your worth. Fitness how you used to make when everything was...
For the live episode, there'll be about 550 people working. We have many meetings with editorial to look at the different aspects that the script will bring us.
23, 24, 25 and 26. There's also a tight crossover problem.
If you just put 28 before 27, that gives an extra...
So you'd go from David Kiley in the garage to the street for the bus, and then to Todd Tony on the waste ground, and then into the Platts for David Kiley.
One of the biggest problems you have is actually being able to communicate to everyone. Listening to the technical chatter behind the scenes to make sure it is all smooth.
The biggest challenge for this live is the scale. We've had to bring in a mobile control room. We're going to be shooting with 32 cameras. There'll be over 30 microphones. There's probably 10 to 15 miles of cable. So it's quite an exercise to plan and rig and make sure that everything works perfectly on the night.
The design team has got a big challenge.
We've started work on it about 6 months prior to the live. One set in particular that we've had to build, which is the Platts garage set. We've had to build the set up on a rostrum so that we could incorporate a manhole. Logistically, it's got to fit within the studio. We can only build up to a certain height, so all of that had to be considered, and his size and shape, to make sure that we could actually fit a body in it. We also have to take into consideration getting actors from A to B, especially the Platts. We've not got much time between the scenes, and we need to see various parts of the set. So what we've had to do is we've had to build linking sections to each of the sets. So we're filming on the lot, we're filming in the studio set and in the Platts garage set, and we've had to do key replicate pieces of the set. So the kitchen's been built 3 times, so hopefully it will be seamless.
I think with all live productions, you want to raise your game and do something slightly different. Having a exterior location scene just adds so much more pressure to everyone.
The challenge that they set us for the live episode was to find somewhere where we can explode a car. It needed to look industrial, and it also needed to be within 9 minutes of the main lot, both for getting the actor from Coronation Street to here, do the scene which will last 23 seconds, and then getting him back, for which we have 9 minutes 14 seconds. Coronation Street itself is within the Trafford Park confines, so this whole area is a commercial industrial but it's finding the right bit and also the bit that is possible to use. We have to assure that everything we do is safe and that we will guarantee all of the health and safety requirements to meet their requirements. On the night, it's fairly simple. It's a single road with no traffic lights, one roundabout, but for safety we will have 2 cars. One car can break down, one car can get a puncture, one car can have a flat. So the car will be driven by a professional driver, but will be followed by a secondary car in case the first one breaks down.
The real excitement starts a couple of weeks before the live, and that's the read-through. All the actors are there, they read it as is. It's a final chance to get a sense of timings as well. It's a final chance to... It's the tiny little things, the rhythms of speech.
Pass on them drinks, babe. Gather, mate, on me.
Let me in! Who's listening to what? People are going to hear. Grab it. What? Do it now!
Once that read-through's over, it's over to the director, John, and his team.
The rehearsal's hugely important because everybody has to be to the point where they're as comfortable as they can be with what they're doing. Everybody needs to know their shots. Cameras need to know exactly what's expected of them. Sound needs to know. The microphones have to be in all the right places, all of that kind of thing. Makeup, costume, everybody needs to know if they've got changes, how long they've got to do things. All that kind of thing needs to happen on the rehearsal. So there are lots of things that you've got to have the what-if scenarios covered. What if it rains? We've got a lot of scenes that are outside, on the street, no cover. We've got a car arriving with its roof down. All of those things are things that you have to consider, can't control, but have to have something at the back of your mind that says, well, if this happens, what we can do is try and do this. To begin with, we go set by set. With about 8-9 days to go, we have the scanner. At that stage, we rehearse bigger and bigger chunks, so we'll run 2 and 3 scenes together. We'll get to the stage where we're doing the whole of part 1 or the whole of part 2. The biggest issue regarding our rehearsals is that at this time of year, September the 23rd, it's still daylight when we go on air at 7:30, but it won't be dark until nearly 7:45, which means that our rehearsal process has been affected by that. A lot of the stuff that happens on the street in the latter part of the show, it needs to be nights. It means that we're going to be working quite late on our rehearsals. So there are some times when we're rehearsing through till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. The team who are making it, they're absolutely extraordinary. From top to bottom, the crew are amazing. The cast are fantastic. Are really going to step up and produce a stunning piece of work.
I'm proud of the team every day I come into work, and I have to say it's one of the best jobs I've ever had. It's called a family, and it is a family. I think everyone, cast and crew, all rise to these occasions, but I am proud of each and every one of them, whether they're behind or in front of the camera, and it's my privilege to work with them.
I am so proud. I'm proud of what they've just done in the last few hours. I'm proud of the way they conducted themselves the 2 weeks of the rehearsal, and I'm proud of the hours and hours and hours of extra time everyone's put in over the entire year to make this happen. Couldn't be prouder. Best team in the business.